Hey guys, so I'm back again. I'm out here in Santa Monica. And how about this white kid just touch my hair? I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Let's see. White people. No, I'm like out here in Santa Monica, right? I just got out here. And this big old white kid, he probably ain't even a kid. Look, he probably about maybe 20, 21 or something like that. Go and walk by and do this to my hair. I'm like, dude, don't touch my hair. I'm like, I don't know what's up with white people touching people's hair. That's so rude. I said, that's rude. Don't touch my hair. Don't touch my freaking hair. So freaking rude.
If y'all ready to see it, so let me hear you say, yeah.
My hair. Trying to mess up my bun.
Let me hear you say, oh, yeah.
I ain't gonna walk by and do that to my freaking head.
All right, check this out. We're going to put another song on. And we're going to build our stage. And we're going to get this show started. Here we go. Yo, fellas.
Black girl's hair.
What time is it?
It's a violation. Check this out, y'all.
Come on.
Get ready to dance. I got some great news. I can't wait to tell you guys. I can't wait.
All right, here we go.
It started already. It took forever just to get started. Okay, I don't have time to win, but I'll show you guys. I've been thinking, I know you guys know that I'm working towards, let me see, I should go this way. So it's been a while since I've been working on my research for my PhD, right? And for the longest, maybe for the past several months, I've been trying to think really long and hard of a name for my research lab, you guys. Something that captures the purpose, something that captures the essence of my lab, you know, and the constructs that I'm studying. And after some long, hard thinking, many months of thinking, you guys, I finally came up with a name for my lab. And it's so nice out here. Hang on, check this out. This is a beautiful day out here. So I'm gonna go to Venice Beach, but it's crazy how I came up on the name, you guys. I can't tell you guys the name, unfortunately, just yet. So don't worry, I'll come back and share with you guys the name of my lab. I'll probably release the name along with the official website for my lab in January 1st, so New Year's Day. But hold tight, you guys. I'll be back to let you guys know the name. But I'm so excited. I'm so happy that I finally came up with a name. It's just like coming up with a name for your child, you guys. It's like trying to think of a name like for, you know, your child. You just have a child, or a name for your website, or a name for your business. That is so hard to do sometimes because you have to find something that's very unique, that's original, and that really captures the essence of whatever it is that you're doing, right? And so for me with my lab, oh my gosh, I was thinking long and hard, like what can I name this freaking lab? I'm like, what can I name? Because I'm not going to go down there. Probably go down there maybe on the way back down the pier. But y'all, it took me a while to think of a name. I'm still mad that this dude touched my freaking hair. Like, you don't do that. Like, he literally walked by and did this to my head and kept going. And then I said, dude, don't touch my hair. He gonna look back and start laughing, thinking it was funny. I'm like, he has to be a kid doing that shit, man. You don't do no shit like that. You don't touch a black woman's hair. You don't do that. But back to the purpose of this video. So I was so like, I feel so good right now because I'm like, yes, I got a name for my lab. Like, finally. And I searched it on Google. Nobody else has that name. I searched the website. No one else has that name. I'm good, y'all. I'm good. So happy. So like I said, probably pretty soon I'm going to go ahead and purchase the domain name and everything for my lab so that no one else takes it. Ooh, let him fall. I'll take you guys with me to Venice Beach. And it's crazy because I came up with this name, y'all. How I came up with the name. Should I go this way? It's crazy how I came up with the name. It's like I had to come out here to the beach, y'all. Something about coming out here to Santa Monica and Venice Beach, that the name, like I was riding on the train and I just kept coming up with different words kept coming to my mind. And I was like, no, and I want to put something together that really resonates with people, y'all. I think y'all gonna love this name. I can't wait to reveal it. I'm gonna reveal it on January 1st because that's when the website is gonna go live, y'all, on January 1st. So if y'all can be patient until then, we just have how many more weeks till the new year, you guys? Not that long. But I'm so excited. I am so happy I came up with the name. I found a name for my lab. I wish I could tell you guys right now, but I can't, unfortunately, because first of all, I have to trademark the name. And then I have to purchase a website and do all the official legal stuff, you know, to protect it. So I would love to tell you guys, look, you guys. That looks fun. I might go over there and get on that ride. But I want to tell you guys the name so bad. I can't. Like I said, I have to make sure that I protect, protect my name and I own the trademark and everything for it before I release it. So just hold tight. But I'm happy that I finally decided on the name. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. I got to get a logo design for it. I'm about to purchase a domain name. So don't worry, y'all. I'm taking care of all the legal stuff. So happy because now it's like, I feel like now I can move forward with my research. Like now, because I'll have a website for it where people can go and learn about my different research projects I'm working on, sign up to participate in a study, sign up to even become a research assistant. If you want to become a part of my lab and work in my lab, you are free to sign up. You'll be able to go to my website and sign up. I'm just so happy, y'all. I'm so excited. That dude must have felt really comfortable to put his hands in my head, though, y'all. I'll think about it. He just tapped my freaking bun. Like, you don't do that. Respectful people ask for permission. I understand it's probably hard to resist, right? You got this thing on top of my head like this. It's hard to resist not touching it. But, yeah, some random white guy just came by and did this to my head. For y'all just tuning in. I'm like, what? I said, don't be touching my hair. Don't be touching my freaking hair. Are you crazy? Now I feel like my bun is getting loose just because he did that. I might have to rewrap it again, y'all. But anyway, I'm just so happy, y'all. I'm like, what? Yes. It's just like I came out here. I figured I'd come out here. I was working on my lit review for my research at the library, and I started to get a little bit tired. I spent about a couple hours there. I got a little bit tired, so I said, all right, well, let me just go and do something refreshing and fun. So I decided to come out here to the beach. And what do you know, as I'm sitting on the train, actually it was after I got off the train. I got off the train and I was walking and I was just playing with words in my head, trying to put words together that have a nice ring to it and that really reflects the purpose of my lab and the meaning of my research and everything. And I did it, y'all. Look. I did it. I'm so happy. Look, y'all. You guys see that? I'm trying to zoom in. The girl is up there doing some acrobatic stuff. That's cool. Y'all don't know how relieved I am to have come up with a name. Like, yes, sometimes it helps just to get away. This is like my getting away. But there's still a lot of people out here on the beach. Now, can you guys see? There's quite a bit of people out here. Go ahead, girl. Do your thing. I'm feeling good. It's like now I can move forward. Y'all just don't know. I can move forward with my research. Yes, because I found a name for my lab. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. I found a name. I gotta celebrate, y'all. I'm so happy. Oh my gosh, because I had a name. I thought I had a name. And the thing about the name, the initial name that I came up with, it's kind of close to this one. Yeah, check this out. I shouldn't have. Oh no. look, he's gonna fall. Wow. Ooh. He was on that for a while. Wow, y'all. Feels so good. I'm probably gonna go and purchase this domain. I might go do it tonight. If not tonight, like sometime before this weekend is over. Go ahead and initiate this legal process for my trademark and everything, because I don't want nobody stealing my name. You know, can't steal my name, my brand, because this is gonna be epic, y'all. Like, this is history in the making right here. I'm telling you, this name for my research lab, y'all. I think y'all gonna love it too. I'm gonna release, like I said, I'm gonna let you guys know the name. The website is gonna go live. Now I want to just take this down because he done messed my fucking shit up. I'm gonna have to rewrap my freaking bun. I hate that, man. Don't be touching my hair. But yeah, I'm gonna release the website January 1st. The website to my lab, so you guys can go check that out. It'll go live January 1st. Who's tuning in? I can't see. It doesn't tell me who's watching. Say hello. Say something. Don't just be sitting there looking at me. I find it to be kind of weird when people just watch live videos and don't say nothing. They just sit there and be like looking at me like a creep. Don't be a creep. Say hello. If I stay out here long enough, I may be able to catch the sunset. I remember when I came out here several months ago and I was trying to catch the sunset, and it was just not happening. Nudity is prohibited. That sucks. You can't get naked on the beach. It's beautiful out here, y'all. Check it out. Check out the scenery. Who is watching? Who's peeking in and not saying anything? Because Facebook doesn't tell me who's watching. I can't see who's like watching. So it'd be nice if you guys say something. Okay, Derek. Thank you. My research is on, well, there's several constructs I'm looking at. I'm looking at Black identity development and acculturation and African American adults, and I'm also looking at implicit racial bias in children. So my current study that I am about to, well, it's basically in the process of getting approved through IRB, which stands for Institutional Review Board. They have to kind of give us the okay before we do embark on our research study. So every institution has one. Every study has to go through the IRB process. Mine is going through a full board review process for approval because my study involves children. So I'm looking at mainly those three constructs because I feel like, I mean, we all know there's been some research on implicit racial bias in children, and a lot of studies on acculturation. Some studies on identity development, but no study has looked at all three together. So I'm definitely going to look at all three of those constructs together and see if I can find any relationship between Black identity development in parents and implicit racial bias in children. So I think I have something there. Is that like the ethics board? Most certainly, yes. That's exactly what it is. This basically is a board that is there mainly for the protection of human participants. That's their main purpose. It's just to make sure that any principal investigator, which I am a principal investigator of my study, is taking necessary precautions to protect the rights of human research participants. So that's their main purpose. And so being that my study involves children, and the construct that I'm studying within children is a sensitive topic. It has to go through full IRB board review, which they say can take like 30 up to 30 days. So hopefully it gets approved, y'all. Because some institutions I think some institutions are not afraid to take risks, right? And some institutions feel like they not taking on any kind of liability or perceived liability. So if they kind of perceive that it may be, I don't know, a huge liability, then I don't know. They may give you trouble. They may give a person trouble. That's what I've heard anyway in terms of my institution where I'm at. But I'm like, please don't do that. I hope they don't give me, let me get on this side. Hope I don't get like, they don't really come down on me too hard because I want to do this study. If they do, I'm just going to have to revise it. And I don't want to leave out children though, because I think they're mainly concerned about working with children, which I've worked with a lot of children. Like most of my clinical experience has been in working with children. Anyway, so I hope that we can make this happen. And I'm expecting my IRB application to get approved. Basically, it's my research proposal that I submitted to IRB. I'm expecting that to get approved. Well, it would be really great if they approve it before the holidays. That way I can go ahead and start recruiting my participants. But I don't know. Realistically, how likely is that to happen? So I may have to wait till after the holidays and wait till January. I think they come back January 5th and start to continue reviewing applications. So hopefully soon. Sooner the better. So I can go ahead and get this study on and popping. And I will be recruiting participants in the Los Angeles area. So it will be, I'm going to do, I think, 30 cases. 2 pairs per case. So that would include, a pair will include an adult caretaker and a child. The child has to be preschool age, between the ages of 4 and 5. And the adults can be pretty much any age. I think I'm cutting it off at 65. And all of them, of course, are going to be African American, because that's the population of interest that I'm interested in looking at, you know, in reference to my constructs that I'm studying. So, and I'm so happy because I found a name. The thing is, though, my lab is more of a comprehensive lab. I remember one of my friends asked me the question, like, okay, what's the difference between a lab and a research study? And I told him, I said, well, a lab is more comprehensive. So a lab can consist of many different research studies. The one I'm working on and the one I'm waiting to get IRB approval for is just one of those studies. But I have quite a bit of studies and things I want to look at concerning African American identity, as well, even cross-culturally looking at identity development in Africans who are native to Africa. And Africans, you know, who are part of the Caribbean and other parts of our, you know, this world that we live in. So it's going to be pretty interesting. It's not that many researchers tackling identity, I think. And so that's where I come in. That's where I come in. I am the identity researcher. You can call me identity researcher. No, but that's pretty much my primary interest that I have in my research. I have a lot of other things that I want to research, but the main is identity. Ethnic identity and acculturation. Acculturation is something that not too many black people, or even, it's not just black people can. Okay, let me get my words straight. Okay, it's not that acculturation only affects black people, right? It can affect other so-called minority groups, and I use that word very loosely because when you think of it, I mean, even the term minority is a political term, just as race is, right? It's a political construct that they use to separate and divide a group of people. So when you think of the term minority serves its purpose too in labeling African Americans and other racial ethnic groups minorities. think about what it does, I think, subconsciously to our self-esteem when we are referred to as the minority group, as opposed to the dominant group. But really, technically, what it really means is that we are a numerical minority in reference to other um, cultural groups that live in America. That's what the term really means. So, it's really about numbers than it is about power. But I mean, that factors into it. If you think about political power, what factors influence or affect one's political position and power in a certain country? It's the numbers. The numbers. People in business know how important numbers are, right? When it comes to sales, so numbers are important. I think as it stands, black people make up only 13% of the U.S. population. So we're growing, but kind of slow. And that's the U.S. population. You have some skeptics say that it's more. Wait, I'm on the wrong side. I think I'm crossing on the wrong side. Some skeptics say that our population is much higher than that. Our percentage, is much higher than that. If you consider all of the black people who are technically black, but they don't identify themselves as African Americans or black people. And then worldwide, we are the dominant race if you're going to go by the numerical definition. In terms of numbers, black people make up the majority race worldwide. But it's how the cookie crumbles. So acculturation definitely is an interesting construct. It has to do with how we as an ethnic so-called minority group integrate within the dominant culture, integrate our own cultural beliefs, practices within the dominant culture. Some of us as African Americans are more acculturated than others. Some are less acculturated to the dominant culture. Or you can look at it as acculturated to your own ethnic culture. But that would be more identity development than acculturation. Acculturation has to do with how well you integrate your own culture into the dominant culture. And a lot of times that can affect one's viability in society, how well a person is able to function in society based on how well they are acculturated to the dominant culture in society. That is my interest. And some people may say, what does that have to do with psychology? It has a lot to do with psychology. It has a lot to do with psychology because a lot of this stuff is in the mind, you guys. The conditioning that we as African Americans have gone through in this country. And what does it mean to be black, becoming black, developing an identity as a black person? All of that stuff is psychological. But I'm so happy that I came up with a name for my lab, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys the outcome of my study. Once it gets approved and once I go ahead and conduct it and get things into motion and come up with my results, be happy to present them to you guys. The goal is to get them published in a professional journal and also present, like a lot of my professors and advisors at my school are like trying to push us to do presentations. So to submit to conferences, academic conferences across the country, APA convention being one of them. The APA convention, APA stands for American Psychological Association. Some of you guys may know that, but a lot of you guys, I'm sure, if you're not in this field, you may not know what does APA mean. So it is basically the largest it is the largest organization of psychologists and psychology graduate students, psychology students in the nation. and they host an annual convention once a year where all of the licensed psychologists in America and graduate students, undergraduate students, mostly people that's already in the profession though, they come and they present their research, they network, you know. I mean, it's like a networking event. It's a way to kind of present your product, your finished product, which for researchers, our finished product is our research, our research findings. And that's what they push us to do at my institution, to get those publications and get presentations in. Fortunately, I haven't done any, but I'm like, okay, I'm a second year PhD student. I have 2 more years to go. So what I don't do my first 2 years, I'll definitely make sure it happen. I'll make happen my last 2 years. But the 2018 APA convention is going to be hosted in San Francisco, and I do plan to go. I don't think I'm going as a presenter. I'm not, because actually the deadline just passed. They did extend the deadline to submit to this conference, but I missed the deadline because I've been swamped with activities and homework and papers and tests and all kinds of stuff. So I missed the deadline to submit for this convention. But the year following, I think 2019, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be in Chicago. So y'all might catch me there. Y'all might just find me there, but don't worry, because it's an ongoing thing, right? So I will be there. I will one day show my face at the APA convention as a presenter. Most likely probably doing a workshop or doing some type of presentation. And from what I hear, it's thousands of people that show up. It's a pretty big conference, so a lot of people, and I'm talking about a lot of noteworthy people in the field of psychology show up. So I've heard quite a bit of people who are pretty much famous, infamous people in my field were there last year. Well, not say last year, but this year, 2017, is still here, right? They hosted it in DC, and I missed it, but my classmates, they took pictures and said how much fun they had. Now, granted, I did go to DC in October, but that was after the APA convention, so I missed it. But I hear it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a way to kind of get your name out there as a budding clinical psychologist or researcher, which I am. And I'm like, I ain't worried about them knowing my name. The field, this profession, they're going to know my name before it's over with. So I'm not necessarily in a rush to push my name out there like that, so to speak, because my name is already out there. You know, I already have a brand and a developing identity and as a professional anyway. So it's just a matter of time, you know, before I bring myself to this platform, to that platform. But I'm looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to it. And it is nice. I'm headed to Venice Beach. I'm feeling great because I'm like, yes, I came out here to kind of get my mind, free my mind up a little bit. And look, what do you know? I came up on a name for my lab. Hallelujah. Thank God. I'm so excited. Derek, if you're still watching, do you have any relation to the field of psychology at all? It feels good out here. I'm kind of overdressed. I'm wearing this jacket. I'm wearing this dress and some pants. Definitely overdressed. And it's weird because when I Google the temperature, it says it's like 50. I go outside, I'm like, it does not feel like 50 degrees out here. It feels a lot warmer than 50 degrees. But tomorrow, it's going to be not such a busy day, but definitely a productive one because I have to complete my psychological report, where I include the results. I administer several tests to my mock client, and I have to basically do the write-up for the results of the MMPI. which stands for Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory. It is a personality assessment, but it's mainly a psychopathological assessment. So it's really a pathological assessment when you think about it. I mean, they call it a personality assessment, but when you look at all the scales that it measures, things, the constructs that it measures, and the scales that are within this assessment, this inventory, it's a lot of pathological scales that essentially assess pathology in people. Pathology ranging from anxiety to depression to hypomania, schizophrenia, you name it. That scale measures it. So I have to. No, sorry.
Hello. Here's my circle.
So I have to. I have to do. I already did the scoring. I just have to see where my client is elevated, what scales my client was elevated on, and put everything into my report and submit it to my professor. Oh, along with the Achenbach. The Achenbach is a self-report of social emotional functioning as well. So I have to basically do the write-up for the MMPI assessment and the report write-up for my Achenbach assessment that I administer to my client. And this is all in addition to I administered the WAIS, which stands for the Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale that assesses intelligence in adults. I administered that. That contains 10 subtests, and also administered the RCFT, Rate Complex Figure Test, which is a test of perceptual motor functioning, as well as the Bender, which measures the same thing. So I have 5 tests that I administered to one client throughout this semester, and I basically have this final report that I have to integrate all of the data and the results from all of these tests into one comprehensive report that essentially makes sense and tells the client's story, puts things into perspective. And I was just thinking, I hope you guys can see me because I'm not sure how good the reception is out here. But I was thinking, even I told my professor, I said, well, this part of our practice is what actually makes me feel like a doctor. Because, I mean, yes, therapy can be great, right? Oh, that looked good, whatever he's doing over there. Wait, can y'all see that? Getting a massage. Okay, let me focus, y'all. So, yes, therapy is great, right? I love the therapy aspect of practice that we do as, psychologists, but I kind of like the assessment part of it too. That really makes it feel more official. You think of a lot of these tests and assessments that are given to clients, and the thing is, I mean, you think about it, like, psychologists actually get paid more to do testing. That's actually 2 separate things. So you have testing and assessments, and then you have psychotherapy. 2 separate practices, right? 2 separate activities that are done by psychologists. And usually the psychologist who does testing and assessments, they don't usually do therapy. So if let's say a client goes to see a therapist, they go to see a psychologist for testing. And it can be for a battery of tests that they are getting. They don't usually see that same psychologist. It's calling me. 202. Sorry, they just missed it. Leave a message. I hope it's nobody important. What was I saying? Oh, so usually if a client goes to see a psychologist for testing, they don't usually see that same psychologist for therapy. So it's 2 separate disciplines in a way, 2 separate practices. And the thing about testing is that testing pays more. I mean, my professor, she does testing full time. And she said that, I mean, the average pay is like $5,000 per battery of tests. And we talking about, now, granted now, some of these tests take a couple hours to administer. So like the waist, I think if I can recall correctly, it took me maybe 2 hours to administer that test. It varies per client, right? Based on their process speed and level of functioning, but it definitely can take some time with that. The ways the MMPI is a 567 item assessment, and that can take over an hour to complete. So let alone scoring of these assessments. Now scoring is a totally different beast. And then you have to interpret the results and look at it in terms of the big picture of the client. Because just because, for example, a client may be elevated on schizophrenia on one of the scales on the MMPI, doesn't necessarily mean that they have schizophrenia. It can mean a number of things. And so that's where you have to put your clinical hat on and kind of go a little bit deeper to see what's going on there, with the client. Okay, I don't know what just happened, you guys. Okay, I think I'm losing reception, but like I was saying, I really can't go into too much detail like I would like to about some of these tests because they are protected under copyright law. And so, the owners don't want basically too much information getting out about the test in terms of the items, that's on the test and, information in terms of interpreting, because that's just all confidential information. And that can affect the validity of the test if the information, leaks. So I can't really say too much, but it's pretty fun. I kind of like this part of what I do, right? I kind of like us giving assessments because it's definitely much more structured and it's more revealing. Like I was saying, it kind of this part really makes me feel like a doctor in a sense because, when you go to see a medical doctor, you're going to get tests. They're going to give you tests and they interpret those test results with you, give you feedback, and essentially that's what psychologists do when they do assessments and testing. So I like this part. Sounds like an interesting hypothesis. Good luck. Thanks. It is definitely an interesting hypothesis, and I came to that hypothesis just based on my research, my review of prior studies that's out there, just along with just being black. You know what I'm saying? It helps that I'm a black African American woman. So, and I've lived 34 years on this earth, so I can pull from my own personal observations and then test them in my study. So we will see. I don't know. Hopefully I have enough participants to be able to come up with some convincing data, because sometimes with studies, it's not that there is no significance. Sometimes it's just simply because there isn't enough there aren't enough participants, to be able to make any kind of definitive to draw any definitive conclusions based on your data. So we'll see, you guys. Another thing, this is a research prac, so the difference is that it's leading up to my dissertation. So it's basically like an experimental study, I guess, if you can say. It gets me ready. It allows me to kind of go through those steps, the steps of an experiment, to just get a feel of it, right? To get my feet wet so I can know what to expect when I do my full-blown dissertation. And the dissertation, for many of you guys who don't know, is basically the meat and bones of a PhD. So you have to, a student basically becomes principal investigator of a study that they designed. Dang, these birds all up on me like that. But they design and conduct a study. You recruit participants and just do a full-blown out study, right? And then you present. You analyze the data, and then you present it. All right. Feel better? Do I feel better? Oh yeah, I feel much better than yesterday. Yeah, because you guys gave me a lot of support. Now I think I'm losing in and out reception because I'm not on the beach. So I don't think it's that many towers, cell phone towers out here. So reception isn't that strong. But I feel much better, yes, because you guys gave me some support. I came to talk to you guys about my crisis that I was going through yesterday with breaking my freaking travel drive by accident. And you guys gave me the support I needed, you know. I appreciate that. Because I was feeling like crap, y'all. I had to walk down this because I was feeling like crap because I'm like, shucks, you know, I have all this information on this freaking travel drive, and then the travel drive just broke by accident yesterday. So my friend, he actually saw my video, and he called me. He texted me, like, I guess right after he saw my video, and then he gave me some suggestions too about what I can do. He kind of did some research for me on places in LA that can help me with retrieving my data from my travel drive that's broken. So I feel better. It's definitely put things into perspective for me and allowed me to kind of appreciate the work that I've done so far in this program. Cause I'm like, just imagine putting in so much work and then just risk losing it all, you know? It's definitely gonna make you appreciate things a little bit more. But I want to take you guys down here with me, but it's like I'm in and out of reception. So this is the thing. If this video shuts off, then I'll probably come back with a pre-recorded video.
What?
Yeah, I want to end this video kind of like with a little mini tour of Venice Beach. If you guys would like to see one. And I like coming out here. It's really laid back. It kind of reminds me, has the feel of the Village in New York City, Lower Manhattan. You guys familiar with West 4th Village? I love it. West Village. It's off of, I say West 4th, but it's off of 4th Street down Lower Manhattan. And that is my spot, y'all. They have some nice things out here, so I'll see how far I can take you guys, but I think like it's not that good reception out here on Venice Beach like I would like. So I'm on Venice Beach now. Back that way is Santa Monica. Back that way. And then here is Venice. Sorry guys. As you guys can see, the reception is like in and out, in and out. Not that many cell phone towers. Not that many cell phone towers out here on Venice Beach. But I'll take you guys as far as I can, show you guys as much as I can. I just like how there's a lot of different artists out here. Cool things. Cool shots. Oh, so I was trying to say that the difference, the vibe, you know, Venice Beach is much different than that of Santa Monica, because like Venice Beach has more like a hippie, artsy vibe to it. Santa Monica is more like soccer mom type vibe. But it's cool. The weather out here is really nice, y'all. Really nice weather. I got some stories to tell, yeah.
I can look through my photos and you'll have a picture of it in the background or something. But what it is,
This is nice.
what would be cool to do to it, it's solid mahogany, and what it would be nice to, if you were going to put it in a garden, like I do, I have a whole garden.
Yeah, there's some characters out here in LA. Oh wait, look you guys. Perfect timing. Just got my reception done. This is cool, right? Impeach Trump. And you got signatures to impeach him. Collecting signatures to impeach him. Let's see if I can get this out before